Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out Skullgirls by Lab Zero Games. This is a very, very beautiful and highly stylized 2D fighter, and I want to be careful here and not give you any wrong information. I'm not exactly the world's foremost, information source when it comes to fighting games, but I do have quite a bit of experience in them, at least with BlazBlue specifically. It's a game that I've probably spent a couple of hundred hours with. As well as I've played quite a bit of Mortal Kombat back in the day, you know, Tekken, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, all of those have factored in to my, my gaming vernacular, or fighting game vernacular, as it were. So this is a fighting game with a really, really polished art style, for one thing. Some of the most frames per second in any animation of any fighting game, it says here on the wiki, which is pretty wild. Also has a soundtrack done by the same musician who wrote the one for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Michiru Yamane, which is pretty freaking awesome. One of my favorite soundtracks, personally. And the look of it, the sound of it, the atmosphere of it, all speaks of really, really polished, really high-class, you know, AAA indie, as it were, which is not a thing that we run into all that often, but in this case, I think feels quite appropriate to say. So this is my very, very first time with this game, although I am aware it came out on Xbox Live Arcade a bit over a year ago. This is now October, rather, of 2013, and it's been quite a while, and I've never gotten a chance to actually get around to playing this. So thankfully, I'm here playing it now on Steam. We're going to start it up and see what we can find here. So there is a wealth of different options to choose from, and fairly standard stuff when it comes to how fighting games are tended to form. So we've got controls, choose controller, settings, there's our settings if you're curious, and all the rest of this stuff, I think all fairly standard. We can actually set stage backgrounds to be 3D or 2D. I find that very interesting and something that I don't think I've ever seen before, something that I kind of wish a few games actually did more often. Alright, so we're gonna do, I think, just some single player. We'll do arcade mode just to get a very standard, you know, feeling for what it is that we're going to be doing here. Player select size, we can do 1 super powerful character, 2 high power characters, or 3 normal powered characters. Wow, that's hard to say for some reason. Which is actually, it sort of reminds me a little bit of like a Marvel vs. Capcom scenario. So one thing that strikes me right off the bat, and this is, I know plenty of people have said this in the past about this game, it doesn't seem like the biggest roster. We're so used to now having fighting games with like 30 characters or more that distilling things back down to a smaller roster, such as this, seems a little bit off-putting at times, but keep in mind, the animation in this game is nearly unparalleled, so that is a big factor when it comes to how you're going to approach designing a roster for a game. I'm not sure who I want to pick, though, since I have basically no prior knowledge about this game. So I guess I'll just start with Parasol and see how that goes.
You're under arrest.
So again, my perspective here is going to come from that of someone who's played a lot of BlazBlue. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to do my best to represent as best as I can. Please be aware, though, this is not a video showcasing my skill in Skullgirls. Again, this is my very first time playing it, and I'm just going to learn the controls as we go right now. I don't tend to button mash that often when I play fighting games, but that is definitely going to be what I'm doing here for this episode anyway, as I learn what I'm doing. And this is a game that I definitely will be playing more of in one form or fashion, whether it is on my channel or not. As I am a pretty big fighting fan, I just don't tend to play them competitively. I just enjoy them in one way or another. I guess that was my knockout move to get them off the screen. So this character is swiping at me madly, although is sans head for most of it. So I guess this is our Tao Kaka of the Skullgirls lineup. And who would I be playing as right now? Is this Lychee? I'm not entirely sure, since I haven't really figured out what my moves even are yet. I mean, Parasol... Oh, okay, this is my Venom character, or, I guess Arakune, maybe. Oh, and she seems to be able to summon some sort of Nazi paratroopers as well, so she's some sort of, Nazi medic, I guess? I'm sure there's a whole bunch of interesting lore, and that's one thing that strikes me is the presentation of this game, between the art style, the backgrounds, the little bits of introduction stuff. That's all really cool, and it really does make you interested in what's going on in the game at large. And I'm aware of the comments that are coming, how painful this was to watch, so no worries. So it looks like we're doing sort of like a Killer Instinct style health bar system, where it seems like I knocked her down, and then she's actually got another health bar, and I'm not going to last much longer here. That's a wrap. Forgettable performance indeed. That's pretty funny. So it's actually got a little bit of an anime influence there in some of the way that the character's face becomes a little weird and stylized as she's batting her head around. Let's try another round here, and I'll see if I can just nail what normal attacks are going to be. There does seem to be a little bit of dissonance between the character art and the background art. Maybe a little bit more than I'm used to in a game like BlazBlue. Why does she have 2 health bars and I have 1? Not sure about that. Maybe I don't need 2 health bars because my character's that much better. Or, okay, she's actually got 2 characters that she's switching between versus my 1 extra powerful character. So I am actually switching them back and forth. I just was too worried about commentary and not actually paying attention before. Alright, so it looks like I've done a super with a combination, looked like a down forward right trigger or something like that. I am using the 360 controller in case you were wondering. Not the most optimal for all fighting games. I am totally aware of the stigma that comes along with using the D-pad in a fighting game, and this is no exception. It definitely, well, it's something I have to get used to, although that is mostly how I play BlazBlue. Although I do have a fight stick, it's not a great one, so I usually stick to my controller. And I do actually have one of those, like, raised D-pad controllers for my 360, but I'm not using that here because I'm on PC right now, so I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. So it looks like I am doing marginally better in this round, but I am not really using my skills to any great degree yet. I'm going to hope that there will be some sort of a parry and counter system and such, and that I will eventually pick up on that. But as is anybody's case, I think, the first time they ever play a fighting game, usually you're not going to be too apt on picking up all the combos right away, or even the linking system, or, you know, how you get out of getting chained for too long. I mean, in BlazBlue, it feels really intuitive in most of the cases, but there's just little cues that you've got to be able to pick up on, and they're not always totally obvious until you've played a few rounds. Alright, so that was a win on that character. We've got another one to fight with very little health bar left. And there we go. Alright, that's a wrap. Barely. You're not wrong. Alright, Parasol, you made it through 1 round. I don't see us lasting very long, though. I am told this game has outstanding netcode also, which is a really important thing if the game's going to be semi-competitive, which is, I believe, what they're going for with this one. Philia, who has hair that turns into a mouth, which is definitely reminding me of a character from Guilty Gear, and you probably know who I'm talking about. Alright, there we go. So I think I understand roughly how to do a super. There is a meter, of course, next to my face and my profile in the top left corner, and as soon as I get to that blue, then it seems like I can do a little bit more of that, which seems like a really heavy thing that I really want to rely on right now while I have no idea what I'm doing. Although it seems like this fight is much easier than the last one for whatever reason.
Threat neutralized.
Alright, threat neutralized. We have a couple of rounds, though.
Take 2.
And this is just arcade mode. This is not like campaign mode. We're not getting into any story progression or you know, exposition in this case, which is another thing that I'm sure would be worth seeing. But for now, I don't want to spoil anything, and really this is just my basest impressions when it comes to the fighting system and the feeling of the fighting system. And right now, all good. I have basically no complaints. It all feels really solid. The controls are there. They're pretty much where I want them. Once I get a handle on what exactly it is that I'm doing, I have a feeling I could become at least reasonably proficient in this. I'm not saying I'm going to win any tournaments. I'm not saying I'm even going to win a lot of matches, but I could at least feel satisfied in knowing that I'm not necessarily going to throw every single match that I run into. And there's quite an eclectic cast of characters going on in the background of this this setting, and I guess that seems to be the trend in all of them. This looks a little bit like a setting from Spirited Away or something. That is quite a strange character. That actually looks a lot like an Arakune character. And I noticed on the title screen, before the actual opening... Oh, we're fighting 3 characters here. That's crazy. I noticed there was actually... It seemed like, almost like a shout-out to BlazBlue in that there was a... almost an operatic... singing voice that happened right at the very beginning, and although that didn't get captured on video, it's sort of a funny thing that I'm not even sure if that's 100% accurate that it is that, but if it is, pretty cool. Very diverse character designs. I think all of them come across as being very different. I'm not even sure quite what to make of this character, but it's reminding me a little bit of a cross between like 1950s Mickey Mouse and what is his name? Carl Clover from BlazBlue. And I'm sorry for all the BlazBlue references for anyone out there who's not really familiar with BlazBlue, but it is the one fighting game that I have the most time with, so I think it's probably natural that I make some comparisons, although I'm not saying by any means that the game is derivative. I'm just finding my comfort zone if possible. So I'm assuming Double here is our Shang Tsung of the group, who seems to be able to morph between different characters in sort of the Thing-like presence, which is fine. I think that makes sense for most games to have a character like that. And I think if you get really proficient, I'm not sure why I popped that then. If you get really proficient, it's kind of a good way to summarize your skills to play as a character that jumps in and out of a whole variety of different characters. You can sort of hone your skills a little beyond even where you would normally be. It's a shame I'm so bad at this. I probably should come back to this one. I'm a little better at it, I know. Look at that animation. It is very, very smooth, I have to say. The animation style is really beautiful. So let's give up and try a different character. Any unsaved progress will be lost. I'm okay with that. We'll do another arcade mode pick, and we'll pick a different character here. Otherwise, we'll pick 2 high-powered characters then, so we get to experience a couple of them in this case. So I'm picking Painwheel, and I have no idea which assist I should pick here, so I'll go with the Reaper, rather. And do I want Misfortune? I think I want Ophelia. Seems cool. And I'll do the Ringlet Spike. Alright, let's see how this goes. So I have no idea what Painwheel is like as a character. Seems a little bit oriented towards low attacks from this the height of her. Let's see what we've got here. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm onto that. It's going to be probably an air juggle character. Heavily on that, at least. This is the most embarrassing thing, probably, for anyone who's really good at this game or familiar with it, as I sort of waffle around and look for ways to describe the characters as I'm familiar with them from other fighting games and series. It's probably not all correct info, but it is the way I'm seeing things anyway for the moment. I'm liking Painwheel so far. I feel pretty okay about this character. Although Valentine doesn't seem too bad either, and I have switched characters at this point. I'm not sure exactly what I did to switch characters. Probably some combination of buttons, that's usually the case. And I know that's the most painfully obvious thing to say, but I mean, when I say that, like, X and A, or like Y and B, it's usually something like that. If Marvel vs. Capcom is any indication. So she seems to also be a little bit more of a compact character, more oriented towards maybe fast burst damage in smaller increments instead of large heavy hits. Definitely feel like I'm doing better with Painwheel than I was with the other girl. And it does seem like maybe my left and right bumpers are my triggers for my assists. That seems fairly obvious, actually, now that I say it. Valentine's brutal, but got you down on this one. Alright, so, and Parasol, alright, I already played as her. I see she does seem to have a character palette swap, which is nice to see. She pulls off the blonde look quite well. Actually looks a little bit like the girl from Totally Spies, if I'm going to be completely honest. Not sure why I know that, but anyway. So Painwheel, if I could maybe get a couple of supers off, I feel like I'm actually doing quite well in this match, although probably not the most combo-tastic performance. At least I am doing some damage, which is not really anything to brag about when we're here on the first level of normal mode, but still, decisive win. I'll take it. Now a word from our sponsors. There's definitely a unifying theme to this game, and I think it's quite lovely.
I'll cut you down to size.
She'll cut me down to size. Alright, let's fight. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a bad situation to start here, although I did just unlock an achievement. I'm not exactly sure why. Prolix. Oh, I didn't actually get the achievement, I just got some progress toward one. So we're fighting Double again. Our morphing character. I'm wondering if there's like a normal progression for each arcade mode fight through. Fairly likely that could actually be the case, considering there's so few characters. Maybe you would actually end up fighting the same progression each time. Actually, Painwheel does seem to have, although some smaller attacks, I'm also seeing some big heavy-hitting attacks as well, both of which I will value. They're both good things to have. Very aggressive character, it seems. There's not as much in the... maybe the rushdown department. I mean, yeah, there is, but I mean, the dexterity of your characters on an individual basis seems to be a little bit less of the emphasis. There doesn't seem to be as much, you know, quick dodging as you would see in a game like BlazBlue. The game seems to kind of keep you more anchored to the ground. You know, we're probably not going to spend the entirety of a match up in the air like can happen in some other games. But that's alright. I think there's a little bit of room for every style of fighter out there. And to be perfectly honest, I think probably a lot of people would feel a little bit more at home with this type of a game. If you're coming from the direction of something more like a Street Fighter or a Tekken, where things are a little bit less, you know, vertically oriented. Not to say that that doesn't happen on occasion, though, but I think for the most part, the action tends to happen more along the horizontal axis. At least the majority of the time, like I said. Trying to qualify things here 100 times. Loving the soundtrack, by the way, still completely loving it. And the backgrounds, I'm having a hard time not just staring at the backgrounds as the action takes place here. Alright, let's see if I can maybe get a projectile move in a few times here, and then we can learn a few moves one at a time. Alright, there we go. There's a throw move, it seems. Oh, pretty brutal smackdown there. I can return that favor, though. And a little bit more, and we should actually have finished this character out. And then there's just one more to go. Alright, so that's actually look a Baraka move, or not Baraka, Blanca move a little bit. And there was yeah, we would use that to bounce off to chain into a combo off the wall. I can tell the combo system's definitely big in this game, I just don't know how to use it yet or manipulate it. And I think that's a lot of where the nuance of what makes a game like this really special is when you get really deep into the combo system, it has a lot of legs and it really carries the game on for a long time. So I'm enjoying Painwheel as a character. I think this could be a character I could play more often, although there are still plenty of others for me to experience. So I guess we should probably wrap things up at this point just because, you know, I'm not the most well-versed in fighting games. I don't know how much more I could carry, you know, more in-depth conversation on a topic like this. All I really want to say is very, very positive impressions, great art style, great music, tight controls, from what I've heard, great netcode, but I don't have first-hand experience with it just yet. Like I said, this is like a top-tier indie game. And if you're into fighters, I think you could do much, much, much worse. I really would have no problem recommending this so far from the experience that I've had. Be that as it may, not the most robust experience. I still haven't even played all the characters, but I think there's plenty of room for improvement and plenty of room for my improvement, I mean, not the game's. For, you know, just more to see and more to do. And I'm told there are more characters to come and the game will be expanded upon in the future. So I'm looking forward to see where this goes, and I hope you are as well. So with that, we'll wrap up our episode. Thank you everybody for watching and sticking around. Be sure to head on into the link, though, in the description, and go grab the game yourself if you want to. Maybe I'll actually go ahead and play this with people one time over the weekend. I think that could be a lot of fun. As long as there is a decent matchmaking system, which I understand also a pretty serious thing that I probably should look into and see how that goes. That could kind of, I wouldn't say make or break the game, but it certainly would lend to a prolonged sense of replay value if it's easy to matchmake and, you know, have a good experience between matches. So, again, check out the description. Links will be in there for the game itself. Oh, looks like I pulled off a pretty nice super there. Decisive victory. And check out my other social media links while you're in the description. I've got my Twitter, my Twitch, my Facebook page, and of course indie-impressions.com, where you can go to find over 550 episodes of Indie Impressions if you want to browse through there. But I will not belabor that point, so feel free to browse through if you like, and leave any comments. Let me know what you think of this game. What are your experiences with Skullgirls? Were they positive? Were they mixed? Were they negative? Probably not negative. I can't imagine too many people could hate a game like this, unless you're just not into fighters, in which case, I guess that's valid. But that is going to do it for another episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to come back again tomorrow. I hope to see you back. A new episode every single day. So I will see you then, and I hope you have a lovely night. Thanks for being here. Talk to you later.